All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. Insert smiley face here. We are back to playing Huckleberry, Weird West RPG, and we are so extraordinarily fortunate to have the brilliant mind behind the game here on the stream with us. He is right below me on the screen, but he's not below me in our hearts. Steven, tell us a little bit about Huckleberry, if you don't mind.
There's got to be a blow me joke in there somewhere, right?
I was hearing it, you know.
Definitely. I was hearing it.
Like, no. Anyhow.
So this is Huckleberry. It's a Weird West action horror game. Thank you so much for joining us. It just came out this August, so we're coming up on a month, and it's getting great reviews and everything. I'm super excited with its launch. Super thankful that you all are playing it. You're knocking it out of the park. And it's been a blast to watch. A little bit of upkeep before I let you all play. We've been doing a giveaway on our Discord server, and we have rolled. Of course, we rolled dice to determine who wins. It was a digital die this time because they don't make D28s, unfortunately. But our winner of the digital PDF of Huckleberry is Levita. So thank you, Levita. I'll be reaching out to you on Discord. We'll get you your copy. If you're bummed you didn't win, don't worry. We're doing another giveaway today for a physical copy. These are very, very exclusive. They are not being sold because Huckleberry is in early access. It's still being added onto. Core rules are complete, of course, but we're adding a little bit more content before we move into physical products because we don't want anyone to be sad that they get the copy and then we add another chapter later. But I was a sneaky little sneak, and I printed some copies as promotional giveaways in Gen Con, and I kept a couple back specifically to go to you lovely people. So hang out and chat. About halfway through, we'll be doing a giveaway, and you'll be able to get your hands on a very rare copy of Huckleberry. That's about all I got, Jeff.
Fantastic. We will, when the time comes, one of us will remind, if you're the type of person who listens to the stream and doesn't really watch the stream, we'll have somebody announce verbally when Steven's doing the giveaway in the chat, so you can hop in and get your chance to enter. And that's that. For now, though, we're going to say goodbye to Steven, and we're going to kick him off the overlay, and we're going to make room for some of this amazing art that he has wonderfully collected from some talented artists. And we're going to dive right in. We ready? Everyone good? Have you studied?
Yeah.
There's going to be a quiz. Okay.
Yep.
Last time around, a large murder of crows swarmed the promenade of the steamboat, the Divine Comedy, that you all have been traveling on for about 2 days now, as you have been escorting a corporate executive by the name of Kaz Thamer. You tried to help Lena, specifically. You tried to protect Kaz. Dora, you jumped up and grabbed this decorative banner and just swooped up a bunch of the birds, and then you smashed them to bits. Once that chaos settles, your friend who knows, love interest, Maybelle Horn, cut into one of those crows and revealed not blood, but oil. She then grew a little short-tempered with you and started to scurry away. Later, Lena and Petra, you decided to go down to the first level of the ship because you wanted to inspect the river water because it was looking really dark, muddy, too muddy, black almost. And what you found was that it looked like there were thousands of barrels had polluted the river water, but there didn't seem to be any source for that in sight. While you tried to collect a sample, you saw a human hand reach up from beneath the water, that oil-soaked water, and then it disappeared. Assuming someone had fallen overboard, you all told Captain Carrington, who tasked their first mate, Swenson, with doing a head count. All of you kind of started to spread out a bit here and there. Dora, you took on the unenviable task of escorting Kaz Thamer back to his suite. You encouraged him to down more caviar and take a rest to ease his nerves. And then you sat sentry outside the suite. You did hear a weird dripping at one point. You found this splotch of oil that was behind one of these absurdist paintings that are all over the ship, and it was dripping upwards, which makes no particular sense. You decided, as any intelligent, rational person would, to take the painting down and then punch a hole in the wall, which,
this is normal.
It's totally normal, right? And you made a hole in the chambers of Judge Ezra Holston, who was not particularly happy and threatened all sorts of legal consequences for you. Over on the promenade, Lullaby, you spoke with this skittish individual named Lupe, who was very distraught because they had misplaced their knife, a very important knife, apparently, and didn't really seem to want to socialize with any of the travelers. Let's see, other things. I think a few of you started helping out Swenson with the head count. Petra, you had a very peculiar encounter with D. Dillard Dubs. He was a bit out of sorts. He didn't have a lot of the energy that he did the day before, and he had a collection of knives covered in blood that he said he had because he's a butcher, that he's headed to King City for a fresh start. You offered him some healing, and then you got the hell out of his chambers. Lena, you spoke with Sybil Wilde, and eventually the two of you came to the dining hall together as there was going to be an early supper to try to account for some of the craziness that's been happening today. Swenson, the first mate, and the captain did note that there were no missing crew, there were no missing passengers, everything seemed fine. Petra, you again annoyed the cook, even more this time, because as you were eating some of these pickled vegetables, you felt a wriggling in your mouth and you realized there was a whitefish in there. You spat it onto the floor of the kitchen, which is never a good thing to do. The dining hall had kind of a subdued mood. There wasn't a whole lot of conversation. People weren't really sitting and conversing with one another. Sybil tried to brighten the spirits of people by doing a tarot read of Lullaby. But during that read, she became a bit distressed when she noticed an alteration in one of her cards. One of the High Priestess's cards was kind of flipped around. And then when she took those cards back and tried to deal them out again, the same three cards kept showing up. The World, the High Priestess, and the Magician. The World having to do perhaps with a journey, the High Priestess perhaps with a guide, and the Magician, she said, might have something to do with the weird kind of messing around with reality. At this, she grew even more upset and started yelling at the people in the dining hall, accusing someone there of altering her cards. Most folks kind of shouted her down or ignored her, and everyone kind of went back to drinking. And that's when anybody who really was drinking and has a sense of taste, when they were sipping their wine, they didn't in fact sip wine, but instead the taste of oil. And suddenly across the dining hall, people just started spitting out their wine across their tables. So we pick up in that scene where you see a bit of commotion. Okay, you see everyone's kind of upset. People are yelling at the captain. They're yelling at the first mate. Sybil is standing up and yelling, and she's like blaming this person and that person. And you can see like the captain pulls out like what looks like a whistle, and he's trying to pull the whistle to get people to quiet down as other folks are spitting and dumping stuff down out onto the floor. You see others are kind of spilling stuff out onto their little circular dining, like tablecloth clad tables and everything. And everyone's just sort of up in a little bit of a commotion. What are the four of you doing as this kind of fighting breaks out, this arguing, finger pointing?
I want to scan the room and see if there's anybody that hasn't touched the drink. Maybe they kind of knew this was happening. Or
Okay.
people that aren't here.
So there are people that are. So there's no one that you can discern that hasn't touched their drink. I would say you notice that the captain and the first mate didn't touch their drinks. They do have they have what looks like goblets or glasses out in front of them, but it doesn't look like they drank. You're not even sure if they're even drinking wine since they're technically kind of on duty. But you do notice there are some people who aren't here. Your friend Lupe, for instance, isn't here. There were a couple like hunter scavenger folk that were kind of hanging out at one table last night that no one really talked to. You don't really see them as well. And I'll say you do notice also that the doctor Dora that Dora spoke with that had the shaky hands, he's not here as well. Abner, he seems to be gone. So there are a handful of people that are not here at the dining hall. Okay. So Lullaby's looking around, taking stock of the room. What is everybody else doing?
Lena didn't have like the same visceral spit out reaction as everybody else, but she is kind of just looking at the contents of her glass kind of quizzically. And
yeah. When you
like,
look at it,
yeah.
The last little bits at the end, like maybe you were sipping it, it didn't taste. I would just say, in terms of the feel, it felt a little slimier than usual. Looking at it now, you can see that it's much darker than it really should be. This is an extremely dark vintage, perhaps, or It's just been shaded black, and there's these like swirls of like rainbow color. It definitely looks like someone spiked it with oil. Like it looks like someone took oil and wine, mixed it together.
Okay. So that's what Lena's doing, is just inspecting the drink.
Okay. Dora or Petra, are either of you doing anything of note?
Yeah, so Petra, kind of seeing what Lena's doing also, Petra wants to see if she can find if they're like kind of where this wine came from. So like if she can find it, if there's some, kind of larger quantity of it and kind of inspect that.
Okay. So do you go back? So do you want to, how do you want to go about doing that? Do you want to ask, or do you want to go physically searching for some?
I'm going to go looking around. Like I kind of want to see, like, is there, kind of a large quantity of this? So, that may be going back into the kitchen.
Okay. You go back into the kitchen, and you get a dirty look from like, no, actually, wait, what's her voice? I was doing like some really bad Irish accent, right? Like, what are you doing here? Get out! Get out! You don't spit on my floor and then come back inside! And she throws like a dinner roll at your face.
And she had come in, kind of with her, kind of glass of wine, and she just pours it. It's oil. Where is this stored? What is going on? Where is this?
The cask
Everyone
is
out
over there. She points over, and you can see in the kitchen off to the side there is a wine cask. It's kind of been turned on its side. It's been almost like, think of it like it's almost like a keg. You can see like they're able to fill some stuff out on it, and they're not so much filling glasses, but filling like big carafes of it. And you can see right now it's kind of been stoppered up, but that's where it would be.
Okay, and is there is there something at the top that I could sort of lift up to kind of look and inspect kind of the large quantity of it and see if it's all
you look inside.
Black.
We'll say either you pull the lid off, or maybe you pull the stopper off and take a peek, sniff. The whole time you're getting pelted with dinner rolls and tell it to leave. And yes, you do get that same kind of pungent smell coming out of it. Like the whole wine cask itself has soured in some way or been tainted.
It's all gone bad. It's all gone bad. Who's been in here?
The only thing that's gone bad is that you're in my kitchen. Get out! And so she comes over in a big huff, and she's like, "What do you mean? It's not gone bad. I just cooked with it." And she spits it. "Oh, that's awful. Oh, goodness. What did you do to it? What did you put in it?"
Everyone out there is drinking. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who's been in here?
Who's been in here? I've got 10 folk on my staff. There's been quite a few. And you're the only one's been in here who's not supposed to be in here.
I know, but anyone else other than me who isn't supposed to be in here, because I didn't do this, because I wouldn't have drank it.
What? The normal folk have been here. Has anyone seen any strange folk coming into the kitchen? No, chef. No, chef. No, chef. Like, kind of echo this chorus of it. And so, yeah, it seems as though no one. Yeah.
Can I look around at everyone in there to see if anyone seems to be like taking off an apron and maybe moving towards a back door, or
if anyone looks suspicious?
Yes.
Okay. You look around and you can see it's like there's several people in here that look nervous, but I would say that you would probably conclude that those nerves stem from the head chef being a little bit brash and bully-like, as opposed to necessarily they look like they look guilty. They look nervous though.
Something is going on here. It was the fish and the oil, and this is something is happening here.
Well, what's happening here is someone is trying to sabotage my work. Is what they're trying to do. Like I've got a reputation to maintain, and someone's going around trying to make an enemy of me. That's what it is. Oh goodness! This is not. And she starts to like break down in front of you and kind of starts to weep at this point. This is no fair. I worked so very hard to try to make a beautiful dinner for all these folk who don't deserve it, mind you. But I still worked me tail off. And now all anyone's going to think is that I'm a terrible cook. That's what they're going to think.
It's more than just that. It's the water outside. The water outside. It looks like there's barrels and barrels of oils in there. There's crows attacking the ship. There's oil in the water outside. There's something going on that's more than just the wine.
I'm a chef. Talk to the captain if you've got a problem. I've got my own things to deal with. Take everything off the fire. We're inspecting everything. Go through every food.
She starts shouting orders, and people are like pulling plates and things like that. They're starting to go through whatever vegetables, like looking into their mixtures and testing everything.
It's like the ship and the river, that's the captain and the first mate's prerogative. Business.
My business. It's really hard to say certain words in this accent.
My business is what's in the kitchen.
And so she...
And Petra will pick up one of the dinner rolls that kind of got thrown at her, and she'll like break it open, and hopefully there's nothing inside of it, and she'll kind of eat a little bit. The rolls are actually good. Sorry.
That was on the floor. What?
Doesn't have oil in it. She'll go back out to the dining room.
And then Dora, was there anything that you were doing in the aftermath of this situation?
She's just gonna move Cass's goblet away from him, check to see if it's also oil. And
you take a quick...
Before he can even drink it, she just will snatch it and check it.
So he's like, he kind of looks at you. He's like, "Tall woman, what are you doing?"
You don't want a repeat of earlier, do you? In your rooms, it's gone bad.
No, I guess no. I guess no, I don't. Quite right. Excellent decision making. That is certainly indicative of fine middle management. Excellent job. Yes. I guess I should really only just eat what I brought.
And so you see he kind of like looks around and very sneakily pulls out another can of caviar. And
yes, that's the good stuff.
And he starts doing some caviar bumps.
Yeah, and then if the captain's at the table, right?
The captain and the first mate are standing up, but they would have been at the table, and you can see that they're conversing, and it's kind of heated, and you can see a couple of their crew are around as they're trying to, and some of them are like, trying to calm folk down, and they're trying to sort of like, what the hell's going on with the food? Why is this and that? So there's definitely a lot of arguing that seems to be going on.
Okay. She'll leave them to argue, and she'll just, kind of lean over and eventually ask them, is there anything else that we could bring out for people to drink to calm them down?
Miss Dora, yes. I was just telling Mr. Swenson here, and it's the captain speaking.
Yeah.
He's going to head down, and then he realizes he could say this to the entire room. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, folks, please listen to me. I'm sending Mr. Swenson down, and people are like, oh, shut up, you already tried. And he's like, no, listen, I know it's been a very difficult day on the river. Sometimes these days happen, but if everyone could just listen to me for a moment, please. And then he's like trying to get them to calm down. But you see a couple people are just kind of getting up and throwing their like napkins down on the table and just leaving. And they're like, the hell with this. You see like Ruthie Bowen, the woman who kind of bumped Kaz on the first day. You can see she just gets up, the chair falls down, and she's just like, gonna go find a real drink. And you see she just kind of gets up and starts wandering off. And you see Ezra Holston, the guy who was the judge who's who you punched a hole in his cabin, and he was just like, there's going to be repercussions for this. And he gets up and kind of wanders out. And so you can see like people are starting to leave, and like the captain's like, Mr. Swenson, please go into the hold. Please inspect what's left in the stores. See if there's any sort of sabotage has been going on. Please, and like Swenson is just like sir, what kind of sabotage are you talking about? This oil, just do it. And you can see the two of them just yell, and he's like, Ugh. The first mate kind of growls a bit, but then like barks at a couple of these other crewmen, and you can see they leave as well. So like you can tell like everything's starting to split up at this point. People are starting to get up and leave. Okay. Around that point, Petra probably comes back out chewing her bread. At this point, you can see there's only a couple folks left. There's probably Cass, there's Sybil, you can see the captain's still here.
You can see, like, you can hear, like, out in the hall, the blonde, curly-haired woman is like, no, don't worry, just come down to the theater. I'll sing. No, you don't need to go to bed. No, come listen to me. And, like, everyone's kind of ignoring her as she's trying to, like, keep them. But it definitely feels like things are falling apart a bit.
What is Richard around at all?
He was, but somewhere in the commotion, it looks like he kind of got up and left, I think. So, like, you can kind of count maybe on one hand how many people are left in the room. And so it's very easy to see who's left. And it's you all, Kaz, the captain, and maybe Sybil.
I'll go up to Dora and say, we should put Kaz back in his room, and we don't have to worry about him, because I think it would make sense for us to maybe talk to people, explore the ship a little, and if he's not in our way, it might make things easier.
Yeah, we should probably inspect and see if there's been maybe any witchcraft or sorcery or anything weird happening elsewhere that's trying to be hidden upon the ship. I don't know if maybe we'll speak to Lullaby about that, since he has his rituals and such that he does.
Literally standing next to you. You said it.
And just lately.
Now the spirits will not speak to me any longer. They're annoyed.
Oh, is it because you're always asking them food questions?
I think the food questions are very important. I'm glad you've been asking them.
Well, I do agree things seem to be escalating, and with this close quarters that we have going on, people are getting a little squirrely, getting a little scared.
Captain is like next to you guys, and he's like,
I very much agree with your assessment there, Miss Dora.
What are you going to say, Lullaby?
Is there anything we can help you with, Captain? Seems dinner is cut short.
I appreciate that, but maybe it's been a trying day. Maybe folks are right. Maybe an early night and some rest is a good idea. Just get everyone's heads back on straight, and we'll sort out this food issue. I'll guarantee y'all that tomorrow breakfast will be much better. It couldn't possibly be any worse. So why don't you take your man? What is he doing? And you see he's just like he's just at his table, just like with his finger, just eating, kind of looking around, making sure no one's maybe just take your man back and hunker down for the night.
Yeah. Cass, are you ready, sir?
What's that? Yes, tall woman. Yes, I am ready to be taken back to my boat. Have you hired additional help to ensure my safety?
Yeah, we did some replacements, if you don't mind.
Excellent. There were a few today that I was honestly encouraged by initially, but ultimately proved to be utter failures. So, yeah. Excellent.
And as he walks out ahead of her, she just winks at Petra and Lena as she just keeps going.
Okay.
Petra just sort of waves and just yep, just go.
And we'll lean over to Petra like, you tried to hire me again?
I mean, if you can get him to pay you twice.
That's all right. That's
use his poor memory against him.
I hadn't thought about it that way. That's a really good idea.
He's got enough going around.
Okay, so you all kind of you head out, get up, and you follow Mr. Kaz back to the presidential suite, or do people split off and do other things?
I'm going to split off, invite whoever wants to join me to explore the ship a bit.
Okay.
We'll wait a little bit.
Makes sense. I know you said you can't do your ritual, but I still think your knowledge will be helpful if we can scour every nook and cranny.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Lullaby, you're splitting off because you want to explore. Petra, you're exploring. Dora, you're bringing him back. And then Elena, what are you doing?
Going with Lullaby and Petra.
Okay. So we'll say, Dora, you bring him back to his suite. You get him settled, and he kind of puts on his sleeping clothes or something, and he's like, yes, well done. Where did the additional help go? I thought you had. Are they outside watching the door?
They're currently checking the entire ship, and then they'll meet me up here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are they being paid to protect the entire ship, or are they being paid to protect me?
Oh, they're hunting for any possible misfortunes that may be coming for you, additional spoiled wine, etc.
And while they're out there, I'm left barely protected.
Oh, trust me, sir, I can beat up anything that tries to come at you. And, like, mind you, she hefts this giant war axe that she has strapped to her back.
Takes a look at you.
Yes, you do have a way about you, don't you? I'll tell you, if this goes well, you might have a permanent assignment as my chief security specialist. If it goes well.
Understood.
Much better than that woman who was working with me and watching my door earlier today. She was making such a racket. Anyhow,
terrible.
I'm going to get some rest. I've had a very trying day.
All right, sir, you have a great evening. I'm just going to do my quick checks real quick, and then I'll head on out.
Okay. So you go about. Nothing out of the ordinary. And then you say we leave him. Do you stay at the door, or do you just say screw it and go to something else?
She's going to check the floor, like this floor, and just kind of see if there's anything else weird.
Okay. So you're just going to stay like in the cabin area, but not necessarily immediately outside his door. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Lullaby and Lena and Petra. Where do y'all want to go?
Did you have somewhere in particular you wanted to explore? If not, I'm gonna say we start at the lower decks and see what the water on the river looks like first.
That is a good idea. We'll start there.
Okay.
I follow you
Okay.
both.
You head down to the first deck, and you can see the water's just still nasty and muddy and oiled, and you can't see anything. It's dark now at this point too, so it's nighttime. It's probably still early in the night, so like the sun maybe has recently come down, but it also has been a very overcast day anyway, between the smokestacks and this sort of like permanent fog that just sort of seemed to sort of linger around the ship, so much so that you can't really see the size of the riverbed anymore. You can't really see like exactly, because everything's just so thick and opaque, and then the darkness on top of it. But you can see the water, and the water is muddy and gross and black in some places, and when it foams up, it doesn't foam up white. It foams up dirty, and it has this terrible smell. Now, there's always a smell down here anyway because of the boiler room and everything nearby, but it's even more pronounced. If you're looking around on the first level, the only real kind of sounds or other people that you run into are over in the cargo hold. So you can see where a lot of people, anybody who had luggage or personal items that they were taking with them that they weren't bringing up to their cabins, is being stored here. And then food supplies and other equipment and stuff. And you can hear the sounds of Sim Swenson's angry voice shouting and barking orders at the crew coming from within that door. That's really the only thing that you see in terms of activity down here. What do you want to do?
If that's where everything is stored, might it be a good idea for us to look around and see if anything untoward was brought upon that could explain what's happening?
Might as
Yes.
well, we're down.
If the first mate will allow us.
Guys try to go inside the cargo hold, and Swenson rears around.
What are you doing here?
We are here to inspect cargo
Who told you to do that?
ourselves.
What
And you're
authority do
captain.
you have?
And your captain.
Captain told you to come down here and inspect this place?
Captain was quite quite perplexed by the ruining of dinner and wants to ensure that there isn't
that's why
anything
you're
going
down
on.
here.
I'm down here fetching wine for those rich.
And he's about to say something, but then he stops.
For those passengers.
You don't have
These
to worry about
idiots
that anymore.
can't find a damn cask of wine for what little pay we get.
And he's just yelling, sorry, sir. And all of them are kind of being very kind of nervous. Go ahead, Lena. Let's do a roll, because you are, in fact, trying to BS him. So let's see if you are able to do so. Expression, and then probably, spirit, maybe?
Okay.
Or reckon, I suppose. Like, logically, you can, it sort of depends, you tell me.
D6 is for me. So, no,
Okay.
that's great. Should have some dice, so that will probably help.
All right, how do you do?
I got a 7 total.
Okay. And he comes forward and he says, as you tell him that the captain sent you here,
That smells like a lie to me. Smells like a lie to you too, huh, boys?
like, oh, yes, sir, it definitely smells like a lie.
Yeah. We don't want liars in here. Ain't no liars on the crew of the Lion Comedy. Are there liars on the crew?
No, sir, no, there aren't.
Get out of here. There's private property in here.
Just trying to help. And she shrugs and walks out, leaving the two of them there.
Okay. So the two of you are there, and he kind of turns over to you.
Go ahead. Beat your feet. Get on out. Shoo.
We'll stay out of your way.
You'll stay out of my way by walking back through that door into somewhere else on the ship.
Did we get prepaid at all for this job, or are we getting paid at the end? Like, would she have any coin on her to be able to?
You would probably have some money,
A couple of
but
coins?
but I don't know if you would get I think the big payment is on delivery of Kaz safely to King City.
Okay. So she'll kind of clink in a pocket a little bit, and just say, we're in the same position. We are trying to do what we can for the rich folks who are paying to be here. We need to ensure some peace of mind and do a bit of digging around, as we promised we would, for Mr. Thamer. If it would help, I can share a bit of what I am being paid to do this job, as we may be inconveniencing you in doing your job.
You trying to buy me off?
I am
what did I
trying
just
to
tell you?
recognize.
Of the hold.
I am trying to do my job. I'm trying not to inconvenience your job. Just trying to share among folks that are trying our best for those that don't deserve our help.
He reaches out and he kind of grabs like a chain that was sitting on top of one of the.
I ain't gonna say it again. Get out of the hold.
Okay, if Mr. Thamer has complaints about what has been done, I will make sure to let him know how this has gone down. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And she leaves.
He looks over towards Lullaby at that point.
Goodbye,
She
sir.
fly.
Stomp my way out.
Okay. So you just hear like a slam of the door as like they close it as you leave. Okay. You guys go anywhere else after this?
Lena's got up to Richard's.
Okay. You go up to the third deck, which is you're now on the same deck as Dora. You go over towards where Richard's room would be. You knock on it, and you hear, no thank you, I'm fine. Good night.
It's Lena from dinner yesterday. I just wanted to check that you're right.
Oh, I'm okay, Lena. Thank you very much. I think I'm just going to get some rest.
It's been an odd day. Well, see you at breakfast.
You sure you're okay? You don't sound okay.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. Thank you, though. It's very considerate of you. Unlike some of the other folk on this ship.
Who's been giving you grief all through the door?
Oh no, whoever's been poisoning us is all. That's all I was saying.
Oh, right. Yes.
Look, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't really trust any of y'all. Someone's up to some shenanigans out there, and I think if I just stay right in here, I think I'm just gonna ride out the voyage, right? I think it's safest in here. I advise you to do the same.
He's gonna try the handle.
Oh, it's locked. Yeah, he's got it locked and everything.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm not gonna bust down the door or anything, but I think he definitely sees the handle jiggle on the other side. He's like,
Like
"All
I
right,
said, I'm good. Thank you, Lena.
okay, great. Bye."
Good night.
See you later.
Okay. Lullaby and Petra, do you go anywhere after that?
What do you think, Lullaby? Is there anything else we should check out?
Maybe the next floor, if any other guests are wandering the ship as well.
Okay, just sweep bottom to
Okay.
top.
Do you want to go to the second deck? When you head to the second deck, you do notice, you do hear some things, in fact. The first thing you hear is the sound of a voice, beautiful voice, singing, coming from the theater, which is on the second deck. It's a handful of doors down the hallway from where the dining hall is. And you hear a beautiful voice singing a song.
The songstress sings again. We should listen.
Well, might as well see if anyone is enjoying her. She's just singing to an empty room.
You head over and you look in and you can see, in fact, she is very much singing to an empty room. She is on top of this mini stage. There are a handful of chairs bolted down to the floors nearby, and there's no one there. And she's just singing all to herself. It's very sad.
I'll have a seat and listen.
Okay. And then you can see when she's just sort of looking up at the ceiling and singing, and then she's noticed you. Oh, an audience. Oh, do you have any requests?
Your finest song.
My finest song. Oh, well, there are just so many, and I have so many fine ones at that. Would you like a happy song, or would you like a sad song?
A happy one. Right,
A
Petra?
happy song. Absolutely.
Indeed.
And so
It's been a rough day.
she starts singing this like this up tempo, almost jig like kind of consistency to the tempo of it, and it's probably something you maybe have heard before in a saloon or such here or there. But her beautiful voice, like it's kind of a hollow, empty feel in some ways because there's no like music to back it up, and it's such a quiet feeling right now on the ship that it's really just like her voice that's there, but she is putting her all into it. Like you can see that she is doing the huge theatrical gesticulations with her arms. She's strutting across the stage here and there. She even like leans down and stares each of you in the eye from time to time. And then when she's finally done, a little bit breathless, and she's like, "How was that?"
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. Your taste is exquisite, sir. Thank you so much. And ma'am, thank you for being here. Oh, that's so very... Oh, what a wonderful outfit you have on. That's very, chic.
Oh, well, thank you. It's actually made most of it myself. Thank you for noticing.
Oh, how very industrious of you. I tend to purchase my clothes personally, but hey, it's wonderful to have such a hobby and a talent. I prefer to sing.
I can tell, and we should each do the thing that we are good at, and you, my lady, are quite the sound to behold.
Oh, well, aren't you just a doll? Thank you so very much. It's so very kind of you. It's very hard sometimes on these voyages to really make a connection with one's fans, and I feel like this small little intimate setting has really produced a connection between the three of us. Really, it's been quite exquisite. Is there another song I can do for you? Is there anything else? Would you? I can do a little dance as well, but singing's probably my forte.
I was thinking that, everyone else has gone to get a good night's rest. It's been a long day. You could do the same. We're just going around and just making sure that everyone's okay.
I don't mean... my mama used to say that I just had the stamina of an ox, is what she said. And I just thought to myself, well, an ox, that's just such an ugly animal. I gotta figure out some way to convert such an interesting talent to something more beautiful. And so I just taken that stamina and I put it towards my singing, so I'm just gonna be here for as long as I need to be. I figure.
You'll listen until you tire.
Oh, well, wonderful. And she'll start to
Petra
sing
looks
again.
over the lullaby like,
Yeah.
we are?
And so we see just like this montage of her singing 2 more songs, and then 3 more songs, and then 4 more songs. And the two of you are still there, and each time she's like talks after like every song about, this is what it means to me. The inspiration I had for this one. This is a personal one of mine. And she kind of gives this huge, long context about it. And then before the next one, there's a big preamble. It talks about her father and her brother and being on the ranch as a child and what it meant to see the horizons in the sky. And it's just like this. And then she starts singing, and it's just, you're not even really sure if what she sings and what she just said even connects to one another, but afterwards she's looking at you like a puppy waiting to be pet. And it's just this over and over again to the point where like the desperation is reeking in the room.
I praise her after every set, as enthusiastically as the first.
Okay.
And Petra is not going to stay. Like, she'll stay for a couple, and then she's sort of like, she's doing the thing where she kind of like gets up like she's going to stretch and sees that he doesn't move, and then kind of sits down on the other side of him. And then like another song ends and she kind of gets up and looks towards the door and looks back to him, and he still isn't moving, and she just sort of slumps down. And it's after maybe like 2 more songs, she's just sort of like leans over and just gonna say, I'm gonna keep looking around. Are you gonna stay?
Yes, I will be here.
Okay.
So
And so she's just gonna like get up and like walk out. At some point when
she's like, I'm gonna be here as long as I'm needed, and Long's like, all right, I'm gonna make you needed. Dude taps out.
Such a weird
Dude
dependent
taps out
relationship. So wonderful. One's a shark, one's a remorse. It's great. Okay, so you get up and you leave and you go off on your own. You look around on the second floor. The only thing you really see in terms of passengers is that you see the woman Ruthie Bowen. She is in the bar. She's all by herself, you can see. And every now and then you hear a tink on the glass, and like the sound of like someone kind of flicking it, or maybe like the glass rim of a bottle clinking against the glass of an actual cup. And you can see that she's in there, and she's just sort of got this big old bottle of whiskey or bourbon, and she's just pouring it and drinking. And then she's just kind of moving around, kind of holding it up to the light here and there, and all by herself. That's what you see, Petra.
Yes, hello. Have you seen anyone else around this evening?
What is that?
Have you seen anyone else around this evening?
No, I ain't seen no one. No. And there's some folk who I think down by the theater, they singing and shake it and such. No.
Yeah, I just left there. There's just
Yeah,
one...
tell them all to be quiet. I'm trying to think.
What are you so intent on thinking about?
Silence.
And Petra will just sort of not say anything for a few beats. Do come to any conclusions?
That there ain't enough of it.
Sure. Any thoughts on what's been going on today?
No.
And Petra's just sort of like looking around the room and seeing if there's anything else. Do you have any thoughts on water and wine turning to oil and
A lot of weird things happen out here. And I do mean weird. It's the way of it sometimes.
Do you ever come across something this weird?
Uh-huh.
You have? Oh, tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. I was down in a mine once, looking for silver, and I heard all sorts of voices calling out and pain, calling for help, calling for anything. The funny thing is, though, Missy, I was down there by myself. I staked a claim. I made sure no one else knew where it was. When I went looking for them voices, I didn't find no people down there. All I found were rocks.
Did you find the silver you were looking for?
No, I didn't. If I did, I wouldn't be riding in second class now, would I?
Well, some people are just frugal with what they find.
Maybe. Some people just ain't got no luck. Can't find nothing good. Can't find nothing valuable. Not like your friend there with all his fancy suits.
Oh, not friend, employer.
All he really had to find was the silver spoon sticking out of his mouth when he was born. Some of us never get the spoon at all. We eat with our hands. We gotta claw our way up.
I must admit, I don't know a whole lot about his family. What do you know about his?
I know that they're real sons of bitches. That's what I know. I know they don't care about you. And they don't care about me. And all they care about is coin and how they can get more of it and take it from the rest of y'all.
Well, I definitely know he doesn't care about me. He has fired me 5 times since he hired me for this job, so...
You keep crawling back, so what's that say about you?
I do appreciate having coin to continue on with my work.
Well, there are other ways to get coin than licking the boots of a fat, rich son of a bitch like Cass Thamer.
This is
you
true.
like the taste of it?
Sake.
What does it taste like?
Well, when I can turn around and do good works with it, it tastes justified.
You're a philanthropist, are you? Take the money you get. No, you're just a different kind of sucker then. You make the money, you keep it for yourself. Bit of a friendly bit of advice. From one gal to another.
See, that's the thing. It's the keeping it for yourself part that makes the people that make money evil. When you take the money and you do good with it, at least in my reckoning, that makes you better.
Remember that thought I had about silence? Best we revisit it now.
Would you like me to escort you to your room? There's been a whole lot of things going on here that are quite unsafe.
Well, I look like someone who can't take care of themselves.
Doesn't stop me from offering.
Yeah. Get out of here, you bootlicking do-gooder.
Hope you have a good evening.
Better in a moment.
So you
And Petra
step
will
on out.
intentionally whistle on her way out the door just to not be silent.
Okay, let me check back in finally with Dora. Dora, was there anything else that you wanted to do after you left Kaz's place?
She was just gonna check the floor, see if there's anything else weird, any more oil drops to the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
any weird paintings stressing her out.
Definitely tons of weird paintings. They're all over the ship, specifically in the cabins, especially in the halls between the first and second class. You don't notice any additional oil smears dripping up to the ceiling, but you definitely see the one still there. It hasn't stopped, despite, I am sorry to say, the punching of the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Still seems to be doing the thing that it...
She's gonna reach up into the puddle on the ceiling and see if the ceiling actually stops her or if she's able to keep going.
Yeah, we'll say you find something to move over, maybe the chair you had out, sitting out in front of the presidential suite. You slide it over, stand up, reach up, touch the ceiling. I know you're pretty tall, but I would imagine touching the ceiling might be beyond it. But when you get on the chair, you reach up, you touch it, pull your hand across, and no, it's definitely crude oil.
Okay. And she's not able to stick her arm even further, a weird amount.
Well, you can tell that the spill has grown. When you first saw it, it was maybe 5 to 6 inches in diameter. Now it's probably 2 to 3 times that. So it's bigger.
Yeah, that's stressful.
Okay. So we'll say as we hear Lullaby clapping every now and then and whistle, and then we hear the whistling of Petra. We see Lena coming back from a attempt to try to coax Richard out of his quarters. We see Dora messing around with that. It gets extremely quiet on the ship at that point, as you don't really see anyone about. Everyone kind of hear the hum of the engines and things like that. That just seems to suddenly be more pronounced than before. And everything's really, really quiet. Everyone give me a busted spirit save. I think that's it.
Oh, great. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So busted, if you've forgotten, that means to lower one of your die by a step.
Okay.
So D8 and D12 for Petra.
You start with the higher
die. Or you bust
die
the high one.
Yeah, you start with the high die when you bust.
And this is the spirits with weird die.
Yeah, so it's a save. So it would be spirit plus weird, and then you bust the higher of your 2 die down a step for this roll.
D6 and D12, which I took down to a D10, which netted me a 10.
Okay. Dora's got a 9. Lullaby, you got an 11.
Yeah, so I take my weird down to a D10 and roll it with a D8. And wait, hold on. I did that wrong. I needed to do 1 D10 and another D10. Sorry.
You haven't spent an ace on saves, can you?
Yeah, I got a 6.
Okay. So who all had under a 10?
Dora did.
Okay. I think you can spend aces on saves, but you can't generate aces on saves. So So for those of you who are under, if you have aces to spend, you could spend them now. So Dora, you're at 9. If you wanted to spend one of your aces, you could get to an 11, which would pass. Melissa or Petra, you're at a 6. I have to
spend 2 of my 4.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll spend 2 of the 4 that I have to pass.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll spend 1.
Okay. And then Lullaby, how did you do? I don't remember.
I got an 11, so I passed.
She passed as well. Okay, so everyone's passing. All of you feel like tiredness overtake you for a bit. Like you feel exhaustion just sort of descends. It has been sort of a crazy day. The day started with the crow attack, and then you've got the river water, and then fighting at dinner, and all manner of other weird encounters. Everyone's kind of been pretty cranky all day, and maybe Lullaby, this is you just sort of dozing once or twice, but like waking back up when Molly finishes the song. It's like, what'd you think about that, sweetie? And then maybe like Dora, like if you return to your position in the seat out in front of the presidential suite, maybe it's you kind of like dozing, but you quickly kind of come back. And then Lena, it could be you just sort of moving up and down the deck with the cabins and just sort of kind of getting in that one of those things where like you're walking a little aimlessly for a bit and kind of get kind of quiet. And you realize for a moment maybe you've overshot where you meant to go because you were just drowsy a little bit. And then all of you, that silence is broken as you hear this wail, this absolute ear-piercing screech and wail coming from somewhere on the third deck. And even Lullaby down in the theater, in between the songs, where she's like, taking a sip of water and trying to get her breath back, and you can tell she's kind of starting to breathe really heavy. She's been doing this quite so often, but you hear this screech, this scream. What do you all want to do?
I instinctively run to it.
Okay. So, Alina, you start racing after it. What about the rest of you?
Dora does
Petra
her.
would also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't leave your room. And she's going to head out.
Knock on a door.
Yeah.
And you yell, don't leave your room to him. Fair enough. Okay. Petra, you said you were running. We'll say maybe we catch you, like you hear it as you're coming up the deck stairs on the balcony after having left your conversation with Ruth. And what about Lullaby?
Piercing noises ruin your performance. I need to investigate it.
I understand, sweetheart. When you're ready for more, just come on down, and I'll be ready for additional songs. Thank you. You've been such a lovely audience. Thank you so much.
So you go racing after it as well. Okay. So all of you eventually then converge. Probably Lena gets there first, Dora second, Petra third, Lullaby. And you realize you all are standing outside. I think Lena would know this more than the others. You recognize who is in this. It is the chambers of Sybil Wilde, the woman who has been doing the tarot readings and things like that. And although the wail, that screech has stopped significantly, you nonetheless do hear like this weeping coming from inside, like just like of a woman just in this constant state of crying, basically. What would you all like to do?
I'm trying to open the door while yelling, Sybil, open the door, Sybil, open up. Is the door locked?
Okay. And unlike Richard's, this one is not locked. You're able to push the door open. The rest of maybe Lullaby is the last to show up right as you push the door open. And you can see that Sybil is sitting on the side of her bed. And she very much is sobbing. She is the source of this, no doubt. She's got her kind of black mourning clothes on that you've seen her in every time you've seen her. And you realize, Lena, as you step in, something is off. Because while she is hunched over and she is holding her head in her hands, you notice that somehow her face is still visible to you. And more than that, it seems to be looking directly up at the ceiling. Her head is effectively somehow completely twisted around on her body and is now facing backwards. What would you like to do?
Oh, that's usually fucked. Recovery,
you say?
because it was like
As you go.
the tarot card from a
Hey,
while ago.
It is.
Petra, is she still living? I don't know if people can be alive
yeah.
like that.
I'm gonna go up to her and like kneel in front
I'm
of her.
alive.
Sybil.
Yeah. So you can hear her. She's weeping. She's actively crying, and she just screams. So she's very much alive, and you can see the
Are
tears. Yeah.
Are you in
Go-
pain, Sybil? You okay? I mean, you're not okay, but like, is it hurting?
So you can see she kind of turns her head to face you, and like it's such a peculiar situation because her head is up. You start talking to her. She turns her head in your direction, and it basically it's the body that shifts first, and so her head kind of goes the opposite way, and it takes her a second to kind of get it coordinated and turn her head back in your direction, and you can tell, am I okay? I can't. What? Oh my goodness. Oh my God. What has happened to me? What has happened? And she starts to effectively like hyperventilate in front of you. And I'll say all of you now at this point, we'll say Lena and Dora, you've made it in. And then Petra and Lullaby, you're in the doorway and you can see all of this happening. And she is just hyperventilating and panicking. Lena, Dora, you're both closer. So you would probably notice like, as you just lingering over top of her and her head turns, like it doesn't, when you see the neck underneath like the veil, which is now all twisted and turned, like it does not look like there's been any sort of crazy trauma or anything. It just looks like her neck connects to her shoulders, which connects, and then and also connects to her head. And there doesn't seem to be like any kind of redness or cutting or twisting. It's just like, it just is. But she is, oh my, what's happened to me? Oh my goodness, oh my God,
Did someone do this to you? Did someone
do this? And she's just panicking. One of you, any of you can do this, can roll, you can give me like an expression check to see if you can kind of calm her down. As you can tell, she's just, oh my God, I can't do it.
So what, expression and weird or
no, because this is going to be a check, it's not a save. Weird, you rolled your saves, so this is a check. You would pick one of the attributes. It depends on your tactics. Spirit, if you're trying to like maybe empathize more, or like like I guess that reckon if you're trying to somehow rationalize this, but I don't know if there's any way of rationalizing this. So
no,
that would be my guess.
Goal is to try. When I'm Sybil, did someone do this to you? Who did this to you? So I'm trying to find out what happened to make this situation happen.
Okay, if you're just trying, well, I would say if you're just trying to converse with her, you're not then like that's not the check right now. The check right now is trying to calm her, and as she seems to be like panicked.
Okay,
so
Sybil, we're just gonna breathe in. Hold it, and match me.
And she's trying to, like, her body's so crooked and different now. It doesn't. My body, I don't know. Are my lungs turning around too? So Dora, you can give me the expression.
They're still okay. You're still okay.
Something's wrong. I feel wrong.
It'll be all right.
All right, go ahead and give me that expression.
Okay, so spirit D8, expression D6.
Okay. All right. And obviously you need a 10. So if you're new, if you haven't listened to us before, actually rolled an 8. You can burn that last ace of yours to sweeten the pot. Get +2 on your, I'm not sure to sweeten the pot, but you get +2 on your roll, and that would hit your, or make it success.
Let's do it.
Okay. And so you come up to her. Maybe you set like a hand on her shoulder, and you literally work through breathing exercises with her, and you get her to breathe in and hold and exhale. And
normally,
after like a couple,
how I fix things is I punch him, but I feel like that's not really
don't punch me.
appropriate.
Don't punch me.
I'm not gonna. We're just gonna breathe.
And so after a couple minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes of that, you do see her. She starts to settle at this point. The weeping kind of stops. You can tell she's still distressed, as you might expect. But this like active moment of hyperventilation certainly seems to have passed. I fell asleep and I thought I'd go and rest, and when I awoke, everything felt different, and everything seems so wrong, and seems I knew something was off when I saw the tarot. I knew it was wrong. I could feel it. The weird is just wrapped around us all and spinning us into infinity and a blackness until we're just gonna be robbed.
Did you have a dream? Did something happen in a dream?
I was doing a reading for y'all for Lullaby. I was back in the dining hall, and I was turning the cards, and I turned the high priest, and I felt a crack, and then suddenly, as I turned and looked behind me, I could see my hands and my knees in front of me, and I started to scream, and then I woke up and I was still screaming, and it wasn't just a dream. What's happened? I don't.
And she's just starting to weep again at this point.
Okay.
You can see she's sort of like vaguely is like trying to reach her arm back, but can't quite see where she's extending it. She's trying to reach to like her nightstand. Like, where?
What are you looking for?
My
What are you
cards,
looking
my
for?
cards, please.
I'll get them. Just one second.
Petra, you come stumbling in, and you can see she's reaching for her nightstand. You open up, and you can see the cards are there. So you're able to kind of hand them over to her, which certainly calms her down a bit. Lullaby, what have you been doing?
I'll ask her if she can continue the reading from dinner. What does the next card mean? You didn't finish.
I suppose. I suppose.
And then she kind of tries to position herself in a way, and
Could you help me? Please.
And I
Slide the table over here.
and she's kind of pointing over to the nightstand. Again, her head is, every time she tries to turn her head in its direction, like the body goes and the head goes the opposite way out of like muscle memory, and it's just such a kind of a pathetic and sort of sad attempt for her to try to orchestrate and control. And she kind of reaches out and try to kind of grab Lullaby and just sit, my dear, sit. And she's trying to get you to kind of like sit in a way which you're across from her body, but unfortunately that means her face is kind of turning the opposite direction. The other thing, while you position yourself, anybody who is like just sort of looking around, one of the things you do notice in here is that there is light. And it's not because there's a lantern. It was all very dim in here. And maybe, Metro, when you go over to grab her tarot cards, like you turn up the oil lantern there, but you realize like there was light when you first opened the door, Lena. And you realize now that the light was actually coming from outside. As much like the presidential suite, Sybil has a chamber that has an exterior window. And so anyone who looks out, you realize where that light is coming from. It's not from a balcony. It's not from like a balcony lantern hanging down. It's not from someone shining a light. But when you look outside, you see that the river is completely aflame. And you can see that it's just these large flames in this constant wall that parallels the side of the ship. And it's like reflecting here and there off some of the smoke that's like wafting around, but all you see is flame. You can see the exterior of the ship. see like the balcony, the stairs, and then where the water is, flame. And it's so bright that it was casting this ambiance, this light coming through her porthole window there.
I'm gonna go notify the captain. Petra, do you want to come with me?
Fire,
Yes,
there's a fire. And Lena is heading out.
Yeah, Dora's trying
Okay.
to not freak her out any further, but then
Yeah.
once Lena screams fire, she's like, Lullaby, we'll be back. And
Okay. So
Yes.
so Lena and Dora go to notify the captain, and then Lullaby and Petra stay behind. Is that what's kind of happening?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish the reading.
Okay, Petra.
Petra wanted to run up and look and just see the extent of everything that's kind of going on here and get like a good picture of the situation.
Okay, so the three of you then are leaving, and one of you staying, and you would know that like the captain is more than likely, if he's awake, he's up in the wheelhouse, which would be that where you would be heading anyway, Petra. So three of you immediately rush out, leaving this poor weeping woman with creepy Lullaby sitting cross-legged on the floor. And nobody to look at the cards for her. So she starts doing the draw. So the first one she draws is can't remember. Stephen, do we have images of these three cards? Okay.
No.
The first one she draws is like this. It says it's like paradise, like paradisio. Just kind of comes up, and you see what looks like this idyllic landscape. It almost looks like this vineyard, and you just see this rolling hills of like some kind of Mediterranean, like Italy, Greece kind of vineyard, and just the rolling beautiful plants. And you hear this gasp from Sybil as she goes, Lullaby, did you feel that? Lullaby?
Yes. I'm still here. I felt it.
You felt the tether as well? I saw something. And she's like holding up this tarot card right in her face, like right in front of her face, which you can kind of look over her shoulder. I can see something here. The weird. Something has happened to us, Lullaby. We are... Something has a hold of us. Something is pulling us in a direction that we don't want to be pulled. I can see a figure. Man? No. Woman? I can see the stacks. Do you see? And she kind of holds up the card again. The stacks. Beyond the hills, right there. And she's pointing to them. Do you see the smoke? And you don't see any of this. Like she's sort of just babbling. And she's looking at this now. Do you see the smoke?
I'll agree with her for now.
I see a figure. They're crawling up the side of it. I see. Quiet. And she kind of like holds her other hand out. Quiet. They're saying something. And then she kind of starts to like mumble a bit. At first, it's like it sounds like she's just speaking gibberish. Due cosa si
convergono alle senze di questo sacrificio. Non è quella che si fa. L'altra è la convenienza. And then this huge intake of breath. I saw it. I saw it. There was a person on the vessel by the stacks. They tethered us. They made a connection. The ship, it's tugging us. It's pulling us down and under. Oh, lullaby. And she's like kind of at this point, like reaching out with her hand to just try to grab your hand. You can tell she's very panicked. What am I seeing? What do I see?
Grab her hand.
Pull the next card, please.
Flip over the next one with my other hand.
And so you flip over the next one, and what you see this time, it says like Purgatorio along the bottom. And you can see the image itself is no longer, like, it's not like the same beautiful rolling Mediterranean vista. Instead, you see what looks like a vessel, like a sailing vessel of some kind. And there's this plank, like an old-fashioned like pirate kind of vessel. And you see like a plank extended out from the deck. And there is a grouping of people that seem to be pushing somebody off the edge of the plank. Like they're making them walk the plank. Do you see it? I know him. Look, do you see him? And she's like,
I see it. Who is it?
Yes. It's the angry man. The one who yells all the time. It's Mr. Swenson. And like right there, and she's pointing, and her finger, which you can see is like this sort of veiny hand, like these big sort of arthritic knuckles. And she's like holding the finger up against the man who's being pushed off the plank. Like he's bound up like this. You can see he's got chains around him, like heavy, thick kind of chains, and like the type of thing that when he lands in the water, he's going to sink. And there are just these dark, shadowy, almost skeletal-like faces that are kind of pushing him off the edge.
What does it mean? Why are they doing this?
I believe they're trying. They've tethered us to the place. They're making a sacrifice. Yes, that must be what it is. Draw the third card, please.
Flip over the third.
And the third one pops up, and this time, and I love that it's long that drew this card, as you see the card says Inferno on it. And you see that there is this big blazing flame, and there is this figure in the middle of the flame, and it's this greasy, slick, almost like it's a specter made of oil, and the fire is surrounding it. And some of the fire looks to be traditional, like blues and yellows, but you do see like there's these, or excuse me, like yellows and reds, but you do see these blue flames are beginning to burst. And she looks and like, I can't see. Whew. This one is Lullaby. I think something terrible has already started here. I think someone is not who they say they are. I think someone has tethered our ship to something foul. I think they're steering us all into flame. You need to shuffle it again.
As I'm shuffling. If there's danger on board, I will take care of it.
I might know more. I see visions. I can see things now. And so, like, she starts to so she's like, draw. And this time,
she says,
when you draw, you don't see any of the cards that she just referenced. Instead, you see the Fool pops up. And it is a fairly obese man who has overstuffed himself with food. He is bursting out of what is otherwise a very beautiful suit. And you can see in front of him is this long table of a pile of like white, wriggling, slippery fish, all within this saturated pool of like blood and viscera. What? And she's like, what? And she like kind of reaches back and she kind of grabs the next card and holds it up, and it's the exact same copy. Now she's got like two, and then she reaches back again, grabs the third one, same thing. She keeps drawing. What is happening? And one by one, every time she draws or you draw, the Fool keeps popping up, one after the other, after the other, after the other. What do you want to do, Lullaby?
what does it mean? The Fool.
Well, I don't mean to make aspersions, but it seems to bear a striking resemblance, does it not?
Oh, to our plump man.
Yes. And he is a fool.
So, what do you do, Lullaby?
After reading's done, I'll leave her as is.
Okay. So you leave her. Where do you want to head?
Catch up to where the others are running off to.
Okay. So the rest of you
interrupt real quick for folks folks that are watching us live. Make sure to check the chat for the giveaway. I didn't want to interrupt that scene, but check the chat. Stephen will drop what you need to do to enter, and make sure to enter before we draw.
Okay. So, Lena, Petra, and Dora, you run out of the halls where all of the first and second class cabins are. You head over to the stairs, the exterior stairs. You can see here a full view of that wide and total field of flame. Like, you cannot see, like, the water, you can't really see. The flames are just as tall, it seems, as the ship itself. You can't see the shoreline. For lack of any other information, when you run out onto this balcony staircase area, it's just flame. Like, you're just encapsulated in it. You also hear the sounds of singing coming from the floor below. And Petra, you recognize the voice. It sounds like Molly. That is kind of the only sound that you do actually currently hear. Is otherwise it's just like this flickering flame. So did you guys want to go and run up to the fourth floor and look for the captain in the wheelhouse, or did you want to do something else?
Yeah, I think folks wanted to inform the captain, and Petra has now seen what she wanted. She just wanted to get a better view. So I think we're all going to inform the captain.
Okay. So when you run up to the promenade, you notice first that above you, the smog has kind of surprisingly started to dissipate somewhat. And you're actually starting to see little tissue paper tears in it, and you can see that high above, like there's the couple stars are actually starting to flicker into existence, and you can kind of see this what looks like a blood moon, a hunter's moon, like a big circular kind of reddish, like red white thing in the sky that's just beating down on you all as you run up here. When you look at every direction, whether it's starboard, port, etc., you look, there's flames in every direction. It certainly looks like the stacks are still functioning, as you see that there is like black smoke that is just billowing out of them. And you can see that the paddle itself is still functioning, and everything, it just seems like the boat is in some sort of capsule, but everything still seems to be functioning. Okay, so you're running into the wheelhouse. You get there, and when you open up the door, you realize it, like you don't see like any active crew up on the promenade. It's also late at night, so you would assume that to some degree they probably wouldn't actually like be here. Just one second. I actually just closed my notes down. Whoopsie. One
Whoopsies.
moment. One sec.
Lullaby is like the only one that got the reading information. Whoops. Whoops.
I tried to ask if you wanted to stay back, but you're like, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys love splitting the party. Okay. One sec. Let me get back to my spot.
There's a fire. Let's confirm that it's a real bad fire. Mission accomplished. It's real bad.
Okay. I'm back. Sorry. So when you come into the promenade, you go over to the wheelhouse and you open the door. You can see that there is one figure in here, and it appears to be the captain. You can kind of see him. He's got a strange profile. The light in here is bizarre. Like, he doesn't have any lantern on. And there's like this blue glow that's encapsulating the entirety of this room. And you watch as the captain, because you kind of recognize the clothes and you recognize the posture and the profile. But when he turns to look at you, you notice that you can't see his face is gone, like the skin of his face. And it's just this skeletal visage. He's got the same clothes. You can see the beard is still growing out of the bone. But you also notice that there is where his like hat and hair used to be out of his head. You can see there's like this flame of blue that just seems to be burning, and it's also glowing out from his eye sockets. And as he turns his head and looks at you, "You're not supposed to be here."
There's a simple woman.
I always love when I describe something and then it's suddenly, I just always love that reaction. All right, what do you want to do?
If no one stops her, Dora is unsheathing her war axe and
I think
to
to
just
Yeah,
chop
I think
his head off.
Yeah, we're definitely like
Okay.
grabbing around for some weapons.
All right, Dora, you lunge into, you said it first. So Dora, you grab your axe and you swing it down. Go ahead and make your attack. So it sounds like you said you have a big, like, heavy axe, right? So it's probably
I have my
grit
big war axe.
and grit brawl, unless you have something else.
No, that works for
That
me.
changes it up. Yeah, go right ahead.
An 11.
Nice.
Okay. So you step in, you swing, you bury the axe into him. What kind of damage does your axe do?
Base is 3. I think
Okay,
is what
it's
it says on
3.
here. Or no, base is
Let's see.
7, critical's 3. Whatever
Okay.
that means.
So it's not, you didn't do critical damage, so it'd just be your base. So
Yeah.
7. I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Yeah. 7.
Okay. 7 damage. Okay. So so describe what it looks as you run in and bury this axe into the back of Captain skeletal Captain Carrington.
It's pretty much exactly that. Like, his head turns kind of unnaturally, and it's almost like Dora's just knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, ew, and she unsheaths it and then just right into his back at like a 45-degree angle.
Okay, so you come swinging down at it. 7 points of damage is not quite enough to get him, so let's go ahead and do a quick ante. All right. Let me do this as he's going to, you having broken into his wheelhouse, hacked him to bits. All he said was, "You're not supposed to be here," but he
He's
will.
a skeleton man.
You're not supposed to look like
really
that.
chill.
I'm sorry. Do you see the art? Are you going to start attacking Buffalo Man and Leech Man and Devil Man?
He did not look like that
Wow.
earlier.
Did he? He didn't attack you. He just said you're technically not supposed to be here. Let me ante up really fast.
His hand's on fire with blue
Clearly,
flame.
we are the ones overreacting.
That's sort
You know,
of seem
I
that
might
way.
have made the wrong reaction, but I'm sticking.
No, there's no wrong reaction. Okay. So basically, the captain is going to effectively lunge at you, and I rolled clubs. I believe that's what it says, right?
Yes,
Okay.
clubs.
7 o'clock.
All right. Go ahead and roll.
Am I doing this
second.
roll?
Yeah, because it would be. Hang on. Sorry, I've got the wrong stuff up. I'm sorry.
No,
Like
you're okay.
bumbling here really fast.
We come in, we see blue flame, skeleton, we pull weapons.
It's immediate reaction.
Hey,
like I
Lullaby will come in a few minutes and be like,
hey, Steven, is club commonly quick, grit, reckon, or spirit? Sorry.
Club
is
didn't-
grit.
Grit. Okay. Okay. So then, yeah, go ahead and so basically, he turns as you hack into him, and he is like, "You're not supposed to be here. Get him, boys!" And you see, like, from the other side of the wheelhouse, the door opens up, and a couple of the crew folk start running in as well. And they've kind of got their deck clothes on. Each of them also looks skeletal. And so they're going to go ahead and they're going to try to effectively just sort of swarm you. So go ahead and give us a grit test, as there's the captain and 3 of his little crew members coming up and kind of swarming around you at this point inside the wheelhouse.
So refresh. That's grit and weird, correct?
Grit and weird, yeah.
Perfect.
And it was a faker. There we go.
13.
Okay, so you can go ahead and, if you want, take those 2 to bank an ace. But as they start swarming around you, you're able to effectively parry their attacks on you. Okay, who goes next?
And Dora's cackling because, like, finally, some shit she can actually do.
Hell yeah.
Okay, who goes next?
I was just gonna take a shot, so I'm happy to. Like, that's fairly
Yeah.
straightforward.
What kind of weapon do you have?
I have a repeater. I also have fast reflexes, which is an extra simple action on my first turn. So I can draw my gun and shoot it in this
Sure.
turn.
That sounds perfect to me. Okay, so go ahead and give us that roll. We need a 10.
I also, if I attack in the same turn that you draw your big iron, you are dealt an additional ace on a success.
Okay,
Here's hoping.
let's hope.
Yeah. Sorry, it's long guns and what? Is it grit?
usually it's crit.
Grit.
Yeah, unless it's like a fast or quick way. If it's got a tag like fast or quick, I think, or fast or light or something like that, will get quick. Otherwise, I think it's grit.
Okay. That is of an D10 for me.
Nice. Big dice.
Yeah, it's like the only thing I'm good at.
Okay.
That's a 14, but that's 2 aces, and I'll get a third because of my justified whatever I just decided was.
Okay. So one of the things you can basically do on a successful attack, Mavericks can sweeten the pot with 2 aces to essentially immediately kill this target, regardless of its current health. But what is the damage that you actually do to it?
Damage base is 6.
Base is 6. Okay, so I'll say with your shot, you're without even having to spend the aces, you're able to, as Dora pulls the axe out, dodges out of the way of Captain Carrington, like undead Captain Carrington and these others who are just trying to get you off the bridge. They like you take your gun out and you fire and you describe how you shatter Captain Carrington right in the face of Dora.
Hell yes. I think she has a similar, oh god, ew, reaction, Dora, and pulls out her gun and takes a shot, and it's a headshot, which means it splinters into bone, and the bone splinter probably catches Dora in the face a little.
Okay.
Question.
So some of the, yeah, go ahead.
So I have a mod for my war club that makes it bladed, so it inflicts bleeding. And then I have, God, what is it? And then at the disposition bloodthirsty, so whenever I spill blood, I sleeve an ace. Does that count, or do I have to spend the ace too?
So I don't think these are. These
That's
don't
also
have.
'cause
I
they're
don't see an
skeletons.
indemnity to bleeding on these creatures, Steven. Am I wrong? I'm using.
Could you bring me in?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring old Steven in because if we're doing them like skellies, I wasn't sure if.
Yeah, that was also my
Right,
other
you're up.
question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm
All right,
using. I'm using the
Agreed
one.
then.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. Okay.
And you're doing that right, Jeff. When it comes to inflictions, to cause those requires spending 2 aces. So to cause bleeding would require you spending 2 aces on your attack, and then it will
Okay.
take damage every turn. When it comes to your
Even-
disposition, though, when you spill blood, that's entirely narrative. That is not mechanical, and you can decide if you've spilled blood or not. So that is up for you to decide when you get that ace. Jeff, we don't have any say in it. You decide when that happens.
That feels weird for skeletons.
Yeah, and it's whatever feels right to you. The other thing is that, Maitreyi, you get an additional simple action. Attacking is a complex action. So you actually have an additional simple action to still take on your turn. It's still on your turn, so you haven't missed it. And then the other thing is, which it doesn't really necessarily come into play now, but because you're using a repeater, that is a longer range weapon. So your base and your critical damage are actually inverted. It's harder to get a solid hit off when you're in close quarters, but if you get a critical hit off, it's going to be much more powerful.
In that case, it's 3, not 6, Jeff.
It's okay. Either 3 or 6 would have killed it. It killed him, so you're good.
Okay.
In this case, it doesn't really matter. Okay, perfect.
So I
Anything
still
else,
have
Steven?
a simple action.
No, that's it. I'm sorry. I just
You do.
wanted to
No.
get that
I
out there, but
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yep. Okay.
I need to open up the list because I don't actually remember what simple actions exist.
Yeah. So simple actions. I can bring that up. 1 second.
So
So
it's
simple
aim,
actions: aim,
assist.
assist, draw, hunker down, interact, move. You can quick reload, which could you can get a single point of ammo and a drawn big iron. You can toss, which is like throw a small item. So aim is to get a raise on your next skill check. Assist could be a raise on another Maverick's skill check. So if you think there's something you maybe wanted to do to help out Petra and something that she might do. Draw you've already done. Hunker down would be like if something targets you, you could try to like take cover behind one of these consoles or something and maybe get a raise on your attribute save, because I am about to ante up for you, so it's possible that you could have an issue.
Right. Can I use my supple action to assist Petra on her attack action?
Absolutely. And so when it's her turn, we'll flavor exactly how you go about doing that.
Sweet.
Okay. So we'll say that. So all right. So then I got to ante up for you. All right. So I got a diamonds. All right. So this should be reckon, I believe. So okay. So, Lena, you take a shot. You essentially shatter the head of Captain Carrington, but he called in a group of these other smaller crewmen. I don't know why I call them small, but these lesser ranked crewmen as they start to try to swarm you. And so they're going to try to effectively kind of grapple you and pin you against the wall, so you can't necessarily get a shot off again. So give us that reckon test, or excuse me, reckon save. So reckon plus weird.
Right. Okay.
And the wheelhouses, we're going to say, is fairly close quarters, so you can easily go between like short and at hand, like at will. It's pretty close in here.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. So reckon and weird is a D12 and a D8 for me.
Okay.
Which is a 6. So I'll spend 2 aces to get me to a 10.
Okay, so you spent 2 aces to get up. Is that what you said?
Yeah, to a 10.
Okay, perfect. So what does it look like as they try to pin you against the wall? As 2 of them just sort of try to pin you against the wall? How does Lena get out from under that?
Lena's always she's much defter than she is strong, so I think she just kind of like dekes out of the way and does that like matrix bend and gets out of the way out.
Fantastic. All right, then Petra, we come to you. We can see the body of Captain Carrington has collapsed to the ground. Its head is shattered. There's little bits and flickers of flame here and there. 3 of his undead crew folk here are also like running around and trying to pin down Lena, but don't. What do you want to do, Petra?
Petra
2. I'm sorry, 2. There were 3 total. Carrington died, so there's 2 left. Sorry.
Yeah, so Petra just thinks that we need to try to take these out as quickly as possible. And so she has kind of got this long skirt, and you just see her kind of reach in. And so she grabs this knife that's in a boot sheath. So that was one of the mods that I took for the knife.
Okay.
And it is also a balanced knife, so she can throw it with athletics. So I've got a D8 for athletics and a D8 for grit as I try to throw this knife at one of the 2 near Lena.
Awesome. Rip it.
What does my assist give her?
Oh, that's a great point. I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. How do you help her? Do you like hold up one of the undead?
That's what I was thinking, is that I just like position a target.
So like one of them tries to pin you, you grab it and kind of redirect it and just sort of right there,
That's what I was
ready.
hoping to do, yeah.
All right, so Petra, get a raise then. So bump up your die 1 step, and then give it a rip.
Okay, so I got a... Ooh. So that means I'm rolling a D8 and a D10, and I got an 8 on the D8 and a 7 on the D10, so 15.
Okay.
Nice.
If you wanted to spend those 2 aces with these types of creatures, which you could basically do is, regardless of the amount of damage that you would do, you can spend 2 aces to just kill the one that Lena just held up.
Of course, because this is a combo, so that would be the cool thing to do. So she like takes this thing, hold it, and I reach into my boot sheath and I grab the knife and I just flick it.
Okay. And so as you do, it just cuts like right across like the neck, like this sort of neck area, and the head just sort of plops off and starts rolling, and it's like, you're not supposed to be here. And you just kind of kick it out of the wheelhouse back out into the promenade, and it collapses and shatters. There is 1 left, so it is going to ante up for you and come off in your direction. Diamond. So diamonds is reckon. So give me that reckon test, as this last one then will come sort of charging at you, Petra, who's still standing in the doorway, having just thrown the knife at her, or at the crew.
Okay. So I've got reckon for me is D12 and weird is D12. So it's double 11s.
Oh wow! Fantastic. So yeah, so they so that's a 22. Is that right?
Yes. If only I could get aces on a same roll.
It's too high, I think. Okay. So it comes running at you. You're able to sort of duck out of the way, and it turns around, ready to kind of scrape at you once more. There's just 1 left. Who wants to finish it off? Seems pretty easy. We can do this.
Petra threw her weapon, so someone else that can do something.
Steven makes a great point in chat, by the way. He says double ones is a crit fail, so double 11s, which are both ones, so that's 4 ones, should be a double crit fail. So I think Petra's head explodes and she falls dead in front of you. Pretty sure that's how that works. Okay, who's finishing the last of these off?
Dora will certainly try.
Okay, go ahead, Dora.
So she's gonna again attack with Wendy, which is Grip Brawl, which is 12 and a 10.
Sister.
And,
You're attacking with my sister?
I'm just holding her by her legs.
I don't think she's gonna like that.
17.
Okay, so again, you can spend these 2 aces if you would like that you just generated. Okay, you actually generated 3, but you can spend 2 of them to just straight up kill this one if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it, and then I'll bank one.
Describe how you take this last one out.
This one, Dora kind of swings like it's a baseball bat, and just kind of catches her in her neck, and then just continues to push right on through, and decapitates them.
And so we see on the ground now are like this scattered and shattered remains of a few of the crew. You can see the captain. You can see a handful of like the various other folks that he had been sending off. You don't see like the first mate or the cook or anything like that, but you just see the faces that sort of blend into the background. It's at this point, we'll say, Lullaby, you've been racing trying to catch up, and you hear a gunshot. And when you get up on the promenade, you look out and you can see that there is Dora, Lena, and Petra like right at the edge of the wheelhouse, and you see this skull just roll across the promenade out of the wheelhouse and then like falls off the side and disappears. What do you want to do, Lullaby, as you see them?
My friend, the card speaker has spoken to the spirits. There's something weird on the beast.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
skeletons.
Yeah, we kind of found that.
Wait,
Are you sure that's it?
Care of it.
There's more.
Oh, okay. Did she say, like, where on the beast, though?
I'm not sure, but she spoke of Swanson.
Okay.
Wait, well, no, that was the captain. That we just took out the captain and two of the crew.
No, Swanson's the first mate. He's the second in command. We
You
just
killed the
took him out.
captain.
Lullaby, are you sure she didn't mention where? Think back. It was 20 minutes ago.
There's a plank on board.
God damn it.
The stacks. The
Oh,
stacks.
what stacks? I didn't even know what those were.
The smokestacks for the ship.
God damn it.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
What'd she say about the stacks, though? Like, is he just hanging out up there, or did he do one of your rituals?
The wheel is tethered here.
Oh, well, maybe we just need to cut it off. We could climb up there, right?
We can definitely climb up there.
Yeah.
Both if we need it.
Let me retrieve my knife. And so Petra kind of goes over to the one and kind of pulls her knife out. And kind of looks to see which direction from here the stacks would be.
Oh, yeah, they're right back towards the other side. Like the wheelhouse is a little bit more towards the front of the boat. The stacks are a little bit more towards the back of the boat, but they're both, you can access both from the promenade.
Can we hit the stacks, and on the way, can I reload?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, reload's no issue. Okay. So if you start wandering back out into the promenade, you again see the fire all around in the water. You again see the fog somewhat thinning, the moon up ahead in the sky. You come to the base of these 2 large smokestacks that have for the last 2.5 days or so just been pumping smoke and such up into the sky. Has been, in some cases, just making it feel like there was this constant cloud over top of you. You can see as you look up that there are a few very dangerous looking walkways that seem, or I'm not even sure if they're walkways, these just sort of connector beams that go between them very high up. I can show you the picture once more of the actual ship if you want to kind of get a vague understanding of it. It's obviously not like a tactical map, but just to give you a general understanding of what it looks like. You all came from the wheelhouse, which is towards the front of the boat, that kind of almost gazebo looking like structure, and you're running back towards these stacks that have those designs, and there's those little walkways here and there. And so when you recall Lullaby, when she was kind of pointing, at this, when Sybil was pointing at the card, she was like, look at the stacks, and all she was really for you was describing these rolling vineyard hills. But when she was talking about him, she was saying like there was like someone climbing or crawling up there, and she couldn't make out exactly who it was, but something was happening there. So, what would you all like to do?
Went up to the stacks. Up there. The card speaker saw something. We must climb.
Okay. It's a very dangerous climb. You're all very capable people. I'm still going to ask you to do a check, considering the situation. I'm going to say athletics quick. Really, the biggest issue is don't roll snake eyes. That would be really bad for you. But just give me athletics quick. You're going to get up no matter what if you pass or fail, but it's just a question of whether you get up scathed or unscathed.
Why do I feel like you looked right at me when you said don't roll snake eyes? Why do I feel like...
I'm going to peel the curtain back for a second. This roll is technically not in the scenario, but Melissa's in the group, so I felt it absolutely 100% necessary to add this skill check. And it seems completely reasonable. The rest of you are probably fine. Like, we all know. You guys are probably good.
I'm going to pull my calling card from my pocket to get an ace here. So it's a little totem carved of wood, the turtle. It's from my tribe. Something I got given to me when I was set out on my vision quest.
Oh, I love
an ace from it.
Fantastic. It's like a bit of good luck, or just encouragement that you can do this.
Yeah,
I love it. Fantastic. Give yourselves a roll. Let's go around one at a time. I'm gonna start with Ashley. Ashley, how did you do?
I ripped it. I got a 9. I will spend my ace.
Okay. So as you start to climb, like, it's not like it's pure smooth, but you can tell that there's these little cracks and stuff that have started to form. You're not sure if it's cracks that are intended to be here or not, but you can see there's these little seams and cracks, probably tiles or whatnot. And you also find there's occasionally like a handhold, which you imagine is a person is trying to climb. Every now and then one kind of just goes brittle in your hand and kind of turns to this sort of flaky ash, but you're able to climb up to without a whole lot of issue. What about Lena? How did Lena do?
Sorry, was being 12.
12. Okay, you can take an ace as well, as you are able to climb up without, again, any real issue. You feel a significant amount of heat. So whenever your hand presses against the stack, you can kind of feel this bit of heat. And you also notice, like, on the exterior of the stacks, like, there's this tarnish and corrosion that seems to be building up along the way. And sometimes it kind of gets off onto your hands, and you feel this little bit of, like, just the briefest of burns. Not so much fire, but maybe like some kind of corrosion or acidic burn. And then Lullaby. How did Lullaby do?
I got a 16, so I'll bank the 3 aces.
Look at you, buddy.
4 total, and I'll just convert it to the weird die increase.
Okay, bump your weird die. I love it. Okay, so you climb up. The 3 of you are up. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Melissa, how did you do on your climb test?
I passed. I rolled a 7 and 4.
Okay.
I'm good.
Did you take the bust, though? You had a double. You were double busted on this one because of your past history.
I was not.
It's a meta penalty. Sorry. Okay. All of you get up without any particularly any particular complications. Your hands, when you look down at them, are a little sooty and black. In some cases, your clothes as well. When you get up to this sort of plank between these two stacks, the wind is kind of whipping around here and there. There's not like a ton of safety. And you notice as you start creeping across and being as careful as you can, let me see who gets it. It's going to be Lullaby. Something catches your attention as you see on one of the beams, as you're moving across, you can see that there is this, what looks like a pattern. And you look down and you realize something has been written on this beam. You see this sort of circular spiral of words, and it looks dried, but you think it was painted on. It's not carved, but rather like painted on. It has this kind of reddish brown kind of consistency to it. And as you start to fumble with what the words say, you think back to your conversation with Sybil about 20 minutes ago, and she started mumbling some language that you heard whispered to you yesterday by a figure you couldn't even see. And you realize it's the same words. And maybe you read it yourself. So I put up the screen so you can kind of see it. There's this awesome little spiral art of it as well. Did anyone hear? I think we did a roll and you weren't able to necessarily translate the words, right? Yes, the last time around. Do you remember?
Something about sacrifice?
Yeah, something about sacrifice. Anybody who would like can roll a education check right now as you kind of come huddle and look down at this and you read through it.
Would it be Reckon Education?
It would be Reckon Education, yeah. And I would say...
I'll try it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
For funsies. And I don't.
For funsies. Okay.
So
Do we just have a dumb party? Is that what this is? Got a bunch of hunks of meat?
Like,
I'm-
bunch of
I'm-
meatheads. It's like
I am smart, but didn't roll particularly well.
Just
so
not
I rolled
book
an
smart.
8, so I'll spend an ace.
Sure.
This is that are there brains of the party energy all over again.
Right?
Okay.
Who's the brains of this operation?
Are there
So-
brains?
I will say that you are able to, with the help of what Lullaby was able to kind of piece together before and the babbling maybe that came from his conversation with Sybil, you're able to kind of, and especially when he helps you with like the word sacrifice and things like that, you kind of can piece it together. It takes a couple moments to sound it out, but it says, in the essence of this sacrifice, two things combine. In the essence of this sacrifice, two things combine. One, that where the sacrifice is made. The other is the pact itself. So, as you guys are sitting there, sort of talking about this a little bit, there's this weird kind of gust of wind that starts like whipping around to the point where you kind of have to grip tight to each other. And you can see that the smoke and the fog are kind of starting to pass by you. Your hair is getting lifted. You look down towards the promenade below you, and you can see that there's various debris. You can see some of the stuff from the clothes and the bones of the crew that you just attacked inside the wheelhouse. You can see the torn second half of the banner that you had ripped free to help with the crows, Dora. And you just watch as like this piece of what looks like litter, it just sort of floats around in that wind, and just this moment of this strange serenity in this darkness just floats and floats. And then you notice how it gets kind of like the view of it, you kind of mistake the size. At first it looks very small because you're looking down, but then as it starts to waft up, you watch as like it wraps itself for a moment around the plank that you all are on. And you see, as it does, it almost like kind of takes on this sort of living quality of just wrapping around until this large canvas of paper, it just becomes upright and just stands like perpendicular to you all. So when you're looking at it, you just see from the side this canvas. And then as it curls around, you notice that it actually looks very much, Dora, like a painting you are quite familiar with. It's a painting that you had taken off the wall and set down and then punched the wall behind it. But it also looks extraordinarily different because on the one hand, you recognize like that strange, how it had like that cask of wine around it. But on the other hand, it looks far, far different. So let me go ahead and see if I can find the right one. That's not the right one. There it is. You see the cask has fallen down, and instead you see this rancid-looking fish-like creature, where the barrel had covered its actual chest and stomach. You can see, since the barrel has fallen away, you can see its rib cage. The skin has been peeled away from it. Only from the sagging breasts and underneath the armpits do you see the skin, and kind of across the arms as well. And you can see through the rib cage, there is this tangle of intestines and organs that are just kind of spilling out. And they're spilling downward almost as if it's kind of giving it its ability to stand. And you see these two small rodent or reptilian-like creatures that are chewing or waiting there like a bird to be fed by its mother. And it's holding up in its hand the large creature itself, not goblets of wine, but instead chunks of meat and organs. And the painting just curves around because it is still just a painting and it is still two-dimensional, and begins to sort of lumber towards you. And that's where we're going to go ahead and stop for this evening. And we will go ahead and pick up next week, as we will, in fact, have episode 4. Look at that. We're doing it. Yay.
Oh, bonus episode.
God, that thing is so
fuck?
freaking nice. I love that art so much.
Oh,
Look at it. It's
Just-
so good. It's disgusting.
Dora
love
regrets
it. It's
not
so
punching the fuck out
terrible.
of the painting.
I know. I was going to say, if you would
I
have
should've
punched the
just-
painting, you probably wouldn't have this fight. That thing would be
I should
dead.
have just been fucking punching
It's too late now.
paintings this whole time.
It is
No.
really, really gross, but I appreciate it. Okay. So you guys are up on top of this flankway between these two smokestacks. There's some sort of ritual that you're trying to interrupt. There's a freaking painting that's attacking you. You just saw the ship captain, who was apparently a skeleton. Sybil's head is backwards, and the river is aflame. So everything should be fine next time.
oh dear.
Everything's
Things
Oh
are
dear.
going so well.
Things are going great. Let's bring old Steven back in. All right, there we go. We're all done. How we doing, Steven? We kind of stumbled a little bit. I closed my notes down at one point, and then it took me forever to find my place. So
It's
Sorry
been a
about
blast
that.
to watch. No, I'm having a lot of fun here. And shout out to George Sellis for the art. Like you said, I'm so happy with the art. It's so gross and disgusting and beautiful. It's amazing.
yeah, it is
but yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. Like, I
Yes.
love it so much. Like the creatures just look absolutely ridiculous and fantastic. And I love that I'm attacking them with paintings. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the Bachelor and Master of Fine Arts guy here is just really appreciating that we're really bringing the Divine Comedy and Renaissance paintings into this combat. This is perfect.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it. It was all an ode to Long, really. Dante's Inferno. How could I not?
Ridiculous to me that he is the one. Like, I didn't plan it. I didn't stack the deck to make that happen. It was just he was the one. No one wants to hang out with him. Everyone left. Okay. Let's go ahead and do some close-up
I
questions. So
love that it
Stephen,
was long.
Stephen, unlike what we would normally do, I am going to throw it to you legitimately, so you can tell us a little bit about Huckleberry, where we can find out more about Huckleberry, get Huckleberry, and Huckleberry. So Huckleberry, please.
It's a game called Huckleberry, and you can find it at huckleberryrpg.com. All the links are there, all the socials, all the links to where you can buy it. Drive Through RPG is on there. We're actually doing pretty well in the Weird West genre. We're in the hottest titles. We're number 2 right now, so that's pretty awesome. So check it out if you like the system. If you want to play the system, join our Discord. I often run sessions there. I'll be adding a few more events here soon for you to be able to play the system, see how it works on your own. Big props to all of you all. You're doing great. It's been so much fun to watch. Thank you so much for giving up Call of Cthulhu for this. You're all amazing. That's all I got.
Fantastic. Don't worry. I doubt we'll ever play Call of Cthulhu again. I think we're done.
What?
Yeah.
Why would I make that new character for?
Just for me. Just for me. I just wanted to know. Yeah.
I would do it for you. I would make another one for you too.
Oh, that's very kind. I wouldn't for you. So that's no. All right. My Trey, can you tell these wonderful people where we can find you on the internet and what you do?
Yes, I'm hoping to get back to some kind of regularity at Matthew Plays Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system content that centers the GM and player experience. And most recently, I got to have someone down there to talk about Huckleberry. Not anything functional and operational and useful, like, game design or anything like that, but, more conceptually about Westerns as a genre.
We did talk like game design and philosophy behind it.
We did, actually. That was, it was a really fun conversation.
Oh, it's me again. Okay, so back to what else are we doing? So here on the channel, next games we got Monday. We should be back to Alien as we're getting very near the end of that campaign. Could be the final session. Might have 1 or 2 left. Then on Tuesday, the guy down there, Steven, what are you running for us?
Star Trek Adventures in Lollygagging. We're going after some Romulans that are stealing people's grapes. We got to bring justice back to the galaxy.
There's been a lot of wine issues going on in the games that you're designing. And
Someone's
running.
been whining a lot.
I feel like Mr. California Boy is just close to all the vineyards, and it just seems to be leaking into all of his design.
Well, I'm a man of culture, is what it is.
Okay, buddy. Yeah, all right. Then on Thursday next week, we're going to be playing some Symbaroum, if you like your dark fantasy. And then Friday next week, we are back to Dragonbane for our second episode. Very excited as Aaron gets back into the seat for that and runs us through more of the Misty Vale, I believe the setting is called. That's it. Also check out the YouTube page, Adventures in Lollygagging. We also have a podcast by the same name. You can get all of the content we've been doing for the last several years. And we hope you can find something you like. If you don't like 1 or 2 of the games, no big deal. Maybe something else is up there that's up to your liking. Otherwise, it's been a lot of fun. We got 1 more session of this next week, and we're going to go ahead and raid someone today. Thank you, by the way, to our friends from Tales of Myth and Mayhem for the raid earlier today. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't followed them, please do. They're running a really awesome, massive Nyarlathotep campaign, really cool Fallout campaign, and they have a few other games as well, like Die, which is one of my favorites, and I think there might be a new game that they're doing a recording of soon. My train knows a little bit about it, but I'll let Mark. If Mark wants to review that kind of stuff, he can.
Podcast exclusive?
I don't know. It's up to him. But I'm excited and I'm sad I couldn't play in it. But let's go ahead and rate our friends for the boys from the Baltic Star and enjoy the rest of your weekend. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.